This is a great topic, conference to be at, because all my team does is think about exponential manufacturing. We've heard a lot at this conference about Industry 4.0 and the transformation of manufacturing. And I think that that transformation is really going to require a new operating system for manufacturing. Ford brought us the Ford assembly line in the 30s. In the 80s, the Toyota production system brought us lean and the concept of continuous improvement to take out waste. And today, we need a new operating system. And that operating system is really required if we're going to be able to meet our customers' needs for customized products faster. It's required by our policymakers and government officials, and we heard from some of those here throughout this conference, who, in an era of populism, are interested in having global manufacturers make things locally and create jobs locally. It's enabled by a lot of new technologies that we've been hearing about at this conference, from IoT and big data to advanced analytics to additive manufacturing and augmented reality. And quite frankly, we're going to hear later on from Rodney Brooks, I'm excited about that, for robotics and automation that is cheaper to implement and more flexible as well. Finally, this new operating system for manufacturing is really required for our workforce to enable them with just-in-time instructions to do their jobs better in this digital age. So this GE Brilliant Factory operating system really has 4 key pillars. Digital is a critical one. So a lot of the IoT, the predicts, which we're developing, that's our industrial internet technology, and a lot of the advanced analytics are critical to that. In addition, additive manufacturing, which is in essence digital manufacturing, is another key enabler, and other advanced manufacturing technologies. And they're really helping to drive lean. So for us, this GE Brilliant Factory concept is that intersection of digital and lean. We have 500 factories, last time I counted at GE. And those of you who run factories know it's a journey, this transformation. Today, we have 17 of them that we would classify in this brilliant category. And by 2025, we expect to transform the entire fleet. Now, additive is a huge part of what we're doing. It's driving a lot of transformation. I think many of you have heard about how we've used additive printing to redesign parts in our jet engine to increase the performance of that engine. But not only are we doing that, getting greater productivity out of the components and the equipment that we're doing, we're able to actually reduce part count. So we can take 20 parts and get down to 1. So many of you might have realized that last year we bought 2 companies, Arcam and Concept Laser. And we stood up a new business, GE Additive, which is providing metal additive services not only to our own businesses, but and to many manufacturers. And we're really leveraging our experience in materials, predicts and software, and engineering and designing for additive to create new value. It's a huge opportunity, driving lots of productivity, and really has some tremendous implications for what's happening with our suppliers and our ability to consolidate, as well as for the logistics operations, because we can make those larger components closer to where they'll be used. Additive is only a part of it. We need a host of technologies. The entire value stream is really undergoing this transformation. And we're leveraging innovation through the startup ecosystem, and that's our job at Ventures, to help find that innovation and connect it back to GE. We're looking at connecting our factories upstream to design, engineering, and even to our commercial aspects. Because if you think about GE, we're kind of a build-to-order company. So that helps us manage our inventory better. There's a suite of tools that go into the factories themselves to help them run more efficiently, and then connecting it downstream to the logistics and helping to get our products to the end user customers. So our ventures team has been very engaged in working with a host of startups and investing in a host of startups that help us play across this value stream in manufacturing. I said additive was important, so it's no surprise that we've been investing heavily in additive. Optimec is in the innovation lab here, so I encourage you to take a look at them. We've invested in carbon. Carbon will be on the stage here later in the conference, and Desktop Metal. Both are really, one in the metal space, one in the polymer space, really looking to speed up additive manufacturing. Jay Rogers, who is after me here, is a great partner, and he's in the portfolio as well at Local Motors, and they've helped us with designing innovation and doing it collaboratively through microfactories, and he'll talk a little bit about that later on. Another area that we've focused on is this flexible, lower-cost automation. Rodney Brooks is here later on on Rethink, and we're happy to have Rodney as a partner and as an investment. You'll see Omni ID in the Innovation Lab as well, and they've got some innovative technologies that help us manage material flow in our factories, leveraging e-ink and other IoT devices. And then one other one that I should highlight is Xometry, which is also here in the Innovation Lab. And Xometry really has a new business model around manufacturing that is the next generation of contract manufacturing, if you will, being able to leverage your spare capacity. I like to call it, I think of it as like a Airbnb for manufacturers. And for us, it's interesting because it helps us to find new suppliers, but it's also interesting to think about, as our factories get efficient, can we leverage our factories in their network? So that's one that we're particularly excited about. Another area that we've been doing a lot of work in is in the logistics space, and as I say, that space is being transformed by IoT technologies. So when we look at investing, we're looking at really three critical things. It has to be thematic. We're strategic investors, and what we're trying to do is connect our companies back to GE to improve our operations. So things that are helping collaboration on the design side, things that are helping to improve the manufacturing floor, things that are helping us on the field services that help us sort of create that digital thread from product birth at the idea side through product manufacturing, through product servicing, and taking that information back. We're interested in those types of transformative technologies. It should be high growth. And then I think the most important thing is the team. Because at the end of the day, we can't transform our company if the companies we invest in aren't successful. On average, we're doing about 6 deals a year. We've got about 20 deals in the portfolio. I think we've invested $40 to $50 million a year is the rate that we're on. So if you have an innovative idea, I've spent some time in the innovation lab and look forward to spending more. It's not just about investing, though, and that is an important part of what we do, but it really is about investing in the ecosystem more broadly, and we have been doing that as well. So we have, here in Boston, we are sponsors of Mass Robotics. We're sponsors of Next Manufacturing in Carnegie Mellon, and that's focused around additive. Dynamo is one in Tennessee that we're sponsoring, and they're focused around logistics. And then in my hometown of Chicago, we've invested in MHub, which is an innovation center for product development and manufacturing. And so as we think about how do you create skills in the next generation for advanced manufacturing and this new brilliant manufacturing age, these types of partnerships and investing in this kind of ecosystem helps us on the workforce side as well in creating capabilities. So I think it's no question that we're in a new era of manufacturing that's really disrupting industry. But the good news on industry disruption is it creates opportunities. And so there are going to be a lot of opportunities for startups to create new value, to allow for better, faster, cheaper products, to enable a new operating system in manufacturing, a GE brilliant manufacturing type system. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of productivity with simpler and shorter supply chains. So those are my remarks, and I want to just take questions and be interactive.
What's your strategy when it comes to investing, taking a majority stake or, let's say, non-controlling minority stake in a company?
From an investing perspective, we are minority investors. We're typically well under 20%. We're usually investing with financial investors because our strategy is one that is should be strategic, but we're trying to make money doing this as well. And that's why we're focused on some of those high growth opportunities. And the check sizes are typically on the order of 5 to 7.
One, thank you for your presentation. You're working with so many vendors. How does that work when you're trying to integrate the work of so many vendors? How does that add simplicity or value back into this? Because it just seems it could just add more complexity and frustrate people versus being seen as a help. So I'm interested in your perspective on how you're doing it in a way that looks like help to the workforce.
Yeah, no, we work with a lot of, that's a great question. We work with a lot of vendors in any event. And to some extent, I think there's an opportunity for us to simplify that chain, and we talked a little bit about that with additive. So we're certainly looking to do that. I think in this change is tough. And in this era, I think it's important to start off with some targeted tests and show value. One of the things that a ventures team is tasked with doing is to really scope out the whole ecosystem to figure out who's on that cutting edge of technology with the ability to deliver, and that's why those teams are so important. What I have typically found in manufacturing, all manufacturers are from Missouri. They don't believe anything, you got to show them. And so one of the important things that we do is leverage some non-dilutive funding to help demonstrate value. Once you demonstrate value, folks are ready to jump on board.
Some of these opportunities, they look really exciting, but what's the rate of failure you expect? I don't know if it's too early to talk about that, but...
You know what, I think most groups will tell you that from a returns perspective, probably 10% of the deals actually do return, but usually you can do very well for yourself with those 10%. Hopefully we'll perform better than average, But we, as I say, we are working on bringing those companies into GE, and if we can make them work in GE, I think we're a great help to those companies in industrializing what they do and being ready to work with a lot of other manufacturers.
So is most of the growth happening through acquisitions and not through organic growth? Or do you believe in acquiring some of these companies for you to kind of get you ready for the new era of manufacturing?
I think we will acquire some. I think we will build some technology on by ourselves. And we'll build some with partners. So in our digital business, which is really the home of Predix, which is our industrial internet platform, they have, obviously, they've been building that platform. They've made some strategic acquisitions as part of that. And we continue to look at companies with them that are focused on analytics around manufacturing, like Sight Machine, which is one of our portfolio companies. So I think it will be a combination, yes and. Some organic development of IoT solutions, and then we've got a platform that we can plug partners into, independent of whether we invest in them or not. Because Predix should be, we expect Predix to be a platform for the industry. You have a follow-up?
With the rate of change being so exponential, I was wondering how many times have you failed? Because if you've not failed, then you have not kind of really pushed the needle.
We failed a lot.
Okay, but we don't hear about it. So
No, we don't talk about that. But we pivot.
Yes.
Then we tell you the next thing that we're working on, and then we pivot. In fact, we have, a few years ago, we really internalized what a lot of the startups are doing, called the lean startup methodology, which is really about rapidly iterating and pivoting. We call it FastWorks within GE, and a lot of our researchers in the Global Research Center and product managers and business leaders have been trained in that. The Ventures group lives it every day because we see it with the companies that we work with, but we fail a lot. It's important.
For companies, especially industrial companies, thinking about setting CVCs themselves, what are some of the advice or learnings that you could share?
Yeah, great question. We've got, we are headquartered in Menlo Park, so we get a lot of companies coming through looking at what we've done. I think we're successful because we have tremendous executive sponsorship. And we have executive sponsorship because Jeff Immelt is really looking at how do you transform GE. So he's interested in how do we become a simpler, leaner, more innovative company overall. And he's interested in learning from startups on how to do that. So I think that's a real key aspect of what we have going for us. I think we've got a great combination of investors in the group who have worked at financial firms and who have tenure at GE to help translate back into GE, and I think that's an important component. We're strategic investors, but it doesn't require that the business or any of the businesses actually have a relationship with the companies in advance. It doesn't require that the businesses put money into these companies, so they don't have any veto. They're represented on our investment committee, but they're just one voice. The venture team has a number of those voices, as does our Global Research Center in terms of our voting structure, and I think that helps us to move quickly. so that we can move at a pace that the financial investors are moving at, and that allows us to get into the better deals. And then we're focused on financial returns as well, and I think that helps. The mentality of it's not just technology, it's people is very important.
For the goal for 2025 to get to a brilliant factory, obviously GE today has many factories. Are you trying to get all of those to a brilliant factory by then, or do you have a way to go in and assess and quantify where each factory is on their journey to become brilliant?
We actually spent thank you for that question. We spent a lot of last year assessing each of the factories and where they were on that scale. So I showed a scatter plot. And we certainly have some that on that lean digital quadrant are in the lower left. We had a few that were in the upper right, in the magic quadrant, as it were. And we are investing heavily to bring the rest of them there. So that's really the goal. But there are, we're in 8 major industries, and we've got manufacturing in 180 countries, and we're everywhere, right? And so it's a journey.